want to talk about config policies and how you can utilize them to serve guardrails in CircleCI. Config policies allow you to write policies to be able to analyze any CircleCI configuration file across your organization and decide whether the build should be blocked or allowed to continue. Config policies are an extremely powerful tool, especially for users in heavily regulated industries where you need to ensure certain actions must take place, like vulnerability scanning. With config policies, you can enforce that best practices are followed by developing policies that fit your needs. This is perfect for platform teams looking to build out the golden path for their developers. Today, in our situation at Atlassian Better Together, we have several projects doing a lot of things. We want to allow the developers to manage their own configs, but we also want to ensure that best practices are adhered to without having to look at every single project and follow all the changes. Let's see how this looks like in practice and how you can set up config policies on CircleCI. Let's pretend I'm a new developer. It's my first week. I have my new changes working in my dev cluster and I want to push out something to production as fast as possible. I get the bright idea and decide to utilize our production context on my development branch, and I push my changes to my VCS. Now, if you're a part of a platform team or a DevSecOps team, you can utilize config policies to stop this action in its tracks by setting up a policy on CircleCI. This separation of duties between developers and platform teams is super important. No developer wants to utilize a tool that has so many constraints that it becomes a blocker. And no platform team wants to give full control to developers without guardrails in place. This is where config policies shine. It allows developers to feel empowered while enforcing best practices which are defined by your platform team or DevSecOps team. If we hop over to CircleCI's UI, you can see the policy violation in action. You can see that it halted the pipeline in its tracks and does not allow the pipeline to continue. As a developer, if I want to learn more about the policy that I have violated and how to fix it, you can easily view all the policies in CircleCI under your organization settings. From here, you can view all the active policies that you have defined in your organization. Additionally, by clicking on a policy, you're able to dive deeper and see how a policy was written and constructed. Now, as a platform team or DevSecOps team, you might be wondering how you can get started with config policies. Well, here at CircleCI, we have a wonderful curated list of policies that you can build off of. You can find these snippets of policies on the config policy reference page. This reference page includes all the building blocks you need to get started. You can think of policies in two ways: enforcing that certain elements are present, or enforcing certain elements that are not present in a CircleCI configuration file. Along with enforcing certain parts of the configuration file, you'll have access to metadata to make more in-depth policies, such as blocking rerun with SSH where production contexts are being used. In addition to enforcing certain actions, you have the ability to either trigger a hard failure or soft failure if a policy violation is detected. A hard failure will halt the pipeline and not allow it to build. It will display an error message in the UI, which can be customized by you. This is what we saw earlier on CircleCI's UI. The second condition is a soft failure. Soft failures still allow the build to continue, but the violation will be noted in the audit log in addition to any hard failures that might have happened. So how have we at Atlassian Better Together have utilized config policies? We've implemented two policies and two different conditions. For the first policy, we don't want any user to get access to production keys on a non-main branch. So if this happens anywhere across the organization, we want the pipeline itself not to process. This was the policy violation we saw earlier. For the second policy, we want to ensure that teams are using orbs that we have approved. In this instance, this includes a few CircleCI orbs, the Compass orb, and then orbs that we made ourselves for deployment and testing. Really, what we want is a standardized deployment process. In this case, we don't want to block pipelines if there is a violation, but we want to monitor their usage. If someone is using a different orb that we have not approved, we'd be curious to know why and see if that orb should be allowed going forwards. This lets us audit log violations, and we can run a scheduled pipeline to give us a report every so often. So what do we see here? Config policies are a platform team's best friend. They allow you to be rest assured that your organization's best practices are being followed and that certain actions can be enforced in the CircleCI configuration file. So if you are looking for guardrails and governance when it comes to a CI/CD system, look no further than config policies on CircleCI. Config policies offer a ton of options and flexibility. So whatever your use case is, give config policies a try to unlock CircleCI's full potential.